Hey everybody, Dave here. Hope you're having an awesome day. So, I have this amazing Coca-Cola product bottle. This is a Sprite, and I clearly paid way too much for it at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. But look at the shape of this thing. It is awesome. I've been wanting to do something with this for a long time. I was actually thinking about repainting it and building it to look like a little Star Wars grenade kind of thing. But I found a pair of Star Wars toy, like a walker, at the thrift store for $2.99, and I think the legs are going to make a really cool robot for this thing. So, come on, let's try it. Okay, so you can see I've switched up my Sprite bottle with a Coke bottle, and I still pay too much for this one, but once you get the wrapper off, man, the body is just such a cool shape, and I can't wait to build this thing. I got this little AP. The foot was broken there, but other than that, it's got some cool parts on it. I'm going to just take a screwdriver, unscrew the leg, pop that off, flip it over, unscrew the other leg, pop that off. And once I get the legs off, I think these are going to work really nice on that Coca-Cola bottle. Got this at ARC for $2.99. Keep your eyes out for some cool toys. There's a cool little peg system that I took apart, and I want to try and utilize this to screw the legs onto the body. So what I'm doing is I kind of just held it up to the legs, did a dry fit, marked a little dot on there where I want to drill my hole, and I need to figure out the measurement of the hole that I'm going to drill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some calipers and just do a quick measurement. If you don't have calipers, I got these at Harbor Freight for like $5 or $6. So great tool to have in your arsenal. I always like to take an X-Acto blade and just start a little hole because drilling onto a round surface can be a pain in the neck. And this is my first chance to use my step bits that I got for my birthday. And I gotta say, they're a lot safer and they cut through plastic really nice. So drilling my hole there, you can see I've taken my Dremel and I actually added 2 little slots on the side there so this slides in perfectly. I'm being very careful to make sure that this is nice and parallel so it doesn't drop down, because if it drops down, the legs won't screw in properly. For the back here, I took like a tank hub, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to make a mechanical kind of look at the back of the robot here. And what I did was I just sanded down the corners, flattened it out a little bit, and I'll glue that on there, and I think that's going to look pretty cool. I had drilled a hole through the back of this, and I thought it'd be really neat to have a wire coming in and connecting into the body. And after I did it, I realized, oh, I didn't even get that straight. It's totally crooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this red wire. I'm going to drill another hole and just kind of do 2 wires coming out. And I think in the end, it actually added to it, made it look a little bit cooler. When I was in California, my uncle was just getting rid of the cell phone, so I said, I'll take that, and I'm going to break it apart and utilize some of these bits and pieces. And I got a cool camera here, and this is, I think, a foot from a Gundam piece. I'm not actually sure, to be honest, but I think it's going to work pretty cool for an eye for my robot. Right now, I'm just kind of drilling a little hole in the bottom using my X-Acto blade. The hole's not very big, so I just use my blade, and I can kind of get a nice little pressure fit here. And I think this is kind of cool because the little weapon is going to be able to articulate left and right, so I'm loving that. And I'm going to go ahead and sand off some of these markings on the bottle here. And then I'm just going to kind of dry fit this camera that would act as the eye for the robot. Now, there's a little bit of a gap in the back there, so I'll have to do something there. I was actually trying like maybe a little cone there. It looks a little weird to me. I didn't love it. I actually had this bigger capsule here, and I was like, ooh, yikes, that looks it looks like a clown. But so I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the smaller camera eye there. I've glued that in, and now I'm just sanding down the rest of the body, so when I paint and I stick some greeblies on, they'll actually stick a little bit better. I've got this cool little seam line that just ended up part of the mold, and I'm just taking a really thin piece of polystyrene, and I'm going to glue that on, and you can see I've already done it on the other side, and I think that's going to give a cool, like maybe a top shell and a bottom shell have come together. I had these Final Faction guns, and so I went ahead and drilled 2 little holes there and added 2 additional guns, And here I'm just gluing on some greeblies. This is actually off of a tank. I actually just took a little saw and cut it directly off of the body of the tank. Did the same with this little greebly. And again, I don't want to overdo it. Sometimes less is more, and so it's just kind of feeling out how many pieces to put on here. I've got this cool little antenna, sanding it at an angle because I am working on this sphere. So I'll go ahead and glue that on, and it's come together pretty nice, and everything is sticking really well to this. Sometimes glued is not nice on plastics. Adding some rivets. These are actually just little beads that I got on clearance at Joann Fabric. And here you can kind of see I've added a couple little pieces of polystyrene and the rest of the little rivets. Taking some Magic Sculpt here. It's a 2-part epoxy. You just mash it up until it turns into one color. And I'm going to roll a little snake and kind of fill that weird gap that was on the eye of the camera here. Using a sculpting tool to just kind of smash it in. And then dab it in some water, and you can actually just smooth it out really easily. And I'll get this nice and smooth, fill in all those gaps. And once I paint it up, I don't think you'll ever notice. I did the same for that little foot that was broken. Took some Magic Sculpt, and I'll sand that down and clean that up later. I spray painted the entire body silver. But after looking at the main capsule, I was like, I think it needs to be like a military green. So I'm going to keep this back end silver, probably keep the legs silver. But that green looks way cooler. And you know me, I love my washes, so I'm just slapping a wash on here. And then you just take a little cloth, wipe it down. And this really adds some nice effects to it. I'm going to do it on the legs, the feet, and kind of across the whole body. Just lather it all up, wipe it down. Wiping down the legs here. And then after I get all that wiped down, I like to take a little bit of Vallejo rust and really subtly add touches of rust here and there. And I'm going kind of across the body, anywhere that I feel like rust would kind of pool up. And then you can also take the rust and drag your brush down and take your finger and wipe it, and you can give these really cool kind of rust drips. And then I'll do a little wash on the guns. These are the Final Faction guns. And I got these new chrome pens because my other pen ran out, so I just got these on Amazon. I think they were like $8 for 3 of them. And I'm going to go ahead and add some little chipping around. And I think this is looking pretty cool. I think we're going to wrap this one up. Okay, so this is one of those builds that I want to encourage you. It doesn't have to be this crazy elaborate, super difficult, hard thing to do. I literally am just using just the Coca-Cola product bottle and the legs and a couple of guns and very little greeblies, and it just came together. It was pretty simple, really simple paint job. So I don't know, I think keep your eye out for cool packaging around you, and I think you can make something pretty awesome. So I'm really pleased how this turned out. I think it fits really nice into my 1M robot world that I'm trying to develop and build. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. So let's do some turnaround shots of this thing. And as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd. Have a great one.